Hey, what's up? I'm glad you made it here. This is Sam from Rather Bet. In this video, I'll be doing my full card predictions, analysis, breakdowns, and bets for UFC 265, Lewis versus Gane. I'll divide these videos as follows. First, I'll talk about the previous results, then I'll move on to the picks and the bets, then I'll break this down for you guys. And at the end, stick to the end if you'd like to support the channel. I have news for you guys for the Patreon. Actually, let me start with that, just to show you guys the news. Then if you wish to support the channel and see more of it, then you stick until the end. Alright, so real quick about the Patreon, guys. I opened up a new tier here, $5 only, for the lock of the night and top 2 parlays. I'll do already for this video. This will be exclusive Patreon content. I'll just release these videos prior to the card, you know, so just you guys can see that this is legit, right? And this is the news, right? And the rest of the tiers I'll comment at the end. So if you wish to support the channel and you know, basically to keep it running, and also hear the lock and the top 2 parlays, so consider the $5 tiers. All right, so onto the previous results for the last card. Basically, I had only 2 bets. It came on top Phil Rowe as an underdog. It gave me a small profit of 1.21% in terms of unit size. If I'm gonna compare it to the amount that I bet, I have 44% profit. I missed my bet on the juice, but I nailed the dog. And these are my stats, guys, that I have. Basically, this is the accuracy of the picks when I bet the juices, when I bet the dog, right? And this is, I separate these bets in the high, medium, and low quality bets. And this is the profit per segment. In the case of high quality bet, I missed the only one I had. So this is basically per segment, and this is for this year, right? And this here you guys can see the evolution through time. So I had quite good months in the beginning. Last month, June, I had a loss of nearly 6.5 units. And ended up breaking even in July. So it's been quite not great months. The last 2, especially June, was disappointing. But I'm pretty not sure, never sure. But I'm pretty positive that this thing's gonna come around. All right. Hopefully this card will be already good profit. I have a good feeling about this one. Let's see how this goes. All right. So let me real quick go through all the picks in the bets. All right, and onto the $5 tier that I commented. I'll record a different video with the lock of the night. All right, I'll give you guys as a bonus for this one, since I'm starting that. All right, so between Vicente Luque versus Michael Chiesa, I'm picking Chiesa but not betting the fight. Kenney versus Song Yadong, I'm picking Kenney. Just betting this as Kenney by decision. Karola Kowalkiewicz versus Jessica Penne, I'm picking Kowalkiewicz and I'm betting her, 0.75% of my money. Not that confident, but a little bit. ALonzo Menifield versus Hermnan, picking Menifield but not betting. Gatto versus Victoria Leonardo, I'm picking Gatto, probably gonna be betting Leonardo by decision. Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munoz, I'm picking Munoz, not betting the fight. Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Jamey Simmons, picking Munoz, not betting the fight. Drako Rodriguez versus Miss Morales, I took Morales as an early bet. Now he's like at -105, something like this. Still value there in my opinion, so I'm betting Morales. Rafal Fiziev versus Bobby Green, I'm picking Fiziev but I'm gonna be betting Green. I'll explain why. Manel Kape versus Ode Osbourne, I ended up going with Osbourne. Let's see, this is quite a tricky one to call and also to bet, but to me the value is on Osbourne. Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill, I'm picking and betting Hill, 1% of my money. Gane versus Derek Lewis in the main event. The second biggest bet of the card for me, I'm quite confident on Gane and betting him as a medium quality bet. Then this fight has been cancelled. Then Miles Jones versus Anderson dos Santos, I'm picking and betting dos Santos against many of the other cappers, as you guys probably know, and probably against many of you guys pick and parlays. All right, so let me just real quick run through the breakdowns. I'll try to make this as compact as possible, guys. And I forgot to mention, if you don't follow me yet on Instagram, feel free to start following. I put up there first some of the bets that I take, so you guys don't need to wait for the video. So some of the bets that I put there here. All right, so if you guys would like to follow me, you can see that in an early basis. All right, so another update that I have for you guys, I'll probably be summarizing this for the future breakdowns, as I'm trying to save a little bit of time on this, you know. So I'll probably remove this slide moving forward. I'll keep this one with the comments and the calculations that I think they are most interesting. All right, So between Kowalkiewicz and Penne, and by the way, guys, this is not in order. Apologize for that. I just put things together by the order that I was watching this, right? So Penne versus Kowalkiewicz. I expect that Kowalkiewicz actually surprises people a little bit here. I think she will show her well-rounded game here against Penne. Penne is a good grappler. She's a quite long, big girl, tall girl for the division, 5'7", and quite long. She's fighting Kowalkiewicz, which is significantly taller and shorter in reach. But I think Kowalkiewicz, she's a little bit faster on the trigger, has a more well-rounded game. She's a very good grappler herself. Kowalkiewicz is. So is Penne. So in the mat, it's quite tough to pick a side. Maybe Penne has a small edge because she's a little bit longer, and she favors grappling, so she's probably practiced that a little bit more. But Kowalkiewicz is no slouch, especially defensively. She doesn't have the best takedown defense, but she's very tough to hold down. So I expect these girls basically to grapple a little bit. I think Kowalkiewicz is going to be able to get back up and keep it standing. I hope that she does, because like I said, I'm betting her. I think she will be able to stuff the takedowns, most of them at least, create scrambles. If she gets taken down, get back up and basically win in the feet. I think that's what's gonna happen here. Penne is good in the body locks, dragging fight to the ground, controlling girls. But again, I think Kowalkiewicz has the experience here to match with her. To me, the risk in this fight is Kowalkiewicz game plan. If she wants to grapple, it's anybody's fight. And also she is in a 3 fight losing streak. She hasn't fought for quite a while. So there's this risk there, but I still think the value is on her. Alright? These are my calculations, guys. I'm going with her by decision. I have this as basically... Sorry about this one, I forgot to update. Basically, I have this as nearly a pick-em fight. I'm going Kowalkiewicz as a small favorite, like 55% of the time. I would say that she wins. But in terms of a bet, to me, it makes sense to bet her, because I would say that I'm being a little bit timid on these stats because of putting the risk that she wouldn't show up or something. But to me, it's more leaning towards 60% favorite for Kowalkiewicz. All right, on to the next fight, ALonzo Menifield versus Ed Hermnan. Actually, this is an interesting one. Menifield known by his power, but I would say that he's maybe known by his lack of experience, or at least it's interesting the way this guy fights, because he's such a fearsome striker. Hits very hard, but he ends up always clinching in his fights. In the last one, he actually went for the clinch and the takedown, ended up getting the arm triangle, which was interesting. And so this guy has potential. He has the power, has athleticism. He's fighting Ed Hermnan, who's a veteran of the game, very well-rounded, very durable, great chin. He's 40 years old now, but this guy still, somehow shows up. Looks like he's even improving. Of course, very tiny bits, but still he looks like he's improving. I don't know, guys. I think many people are parlaying Menifield here. I don't want to parlay Menifield at minus 300, minus 330. To me it's a little bit expensive for Menifield, because Menifield, he's fairly inexperienced, like I said. He could guess, he could try to crack Hermnan, could land but not finish Hermnan. So I would say that I would be careful with this one. Actually, I don't want to bet Hermnan, because again, he's 40 years old. He's fighting quite young, not that young. Menifield is 34 now, so he's fairly young as a light heavyweight, especially. So he's fighting a powerful guy here. He could be knocked out. So I don't want to bet Hermnan, but if you're gonna force me to bet, the best bet here is probably Hermnan by decision. I may take this one actually if I find the prop on Hermnan by decision, because it's quite tough to finish Menifield unless he guesses and Hermnan takes him on the 3rd round. So this could happen. I would be interested maybe putting a very little amount on this line here. But rather than that, should be Menifield as a slightly favorite. I'm putting like minus 170 is like the median between these things. But he could get a flash knockout. But he could guess, not being able to finish Hermnan, and Hermnan could surprise many people. So I don't want to risk my money on that. And yeah, but this is my analysis for you guys. These are my comments. My calculations are here. So Menifield 60% by my calculations. Here is a quite big variance. All right. Melissa Gatto versus Victoria Leonardo. Another interesting one. Both of these girls are very interesting strikers, but they are better grapplers. It's tough to call because Melissa Gatto, she she doesn't have that much experience. Most of her fights come in local circuits in Brazil, which is, some of them were more low-level fights. She, from what I've seen from videos, she's a better grappler, but she's so intense and tough. I think she could bring improvements. She could push the pace, and she has power. She's gonna try to probably impose her game plan against Victoria Leonardo. I can say quite similar things about Leonardo, just I don't think she's as strong, as powerful as Melissa Gatto, but she's a better grappler, at least in terms of the strategy. She uses better the clinch, she takes girls down better. She's a little bit better on the offensive part rather than defense, whereas Melissa Gatto, she's quite tough to take down, and she has a very good BJJ game on her back. She's super active, chains submissions together. I saw in the lines, in the odds, I think people expected this go inside of the distance. I think this finishes inside of the distance too, but I don't think it's like, for me it's nearly 50-50 that this finishes inside of the distance. I'm actually going with Leonardo by decision, so by my calculations it makes sense to bet Leonardo by decision. I'm gonna take that bet, right? But Melissa Gatto, she could submit Victoria Leonardo, so I'm not super confident in that, but still I think it makes sense to bet Leonardo by decision in this one. To me the value is there, alright? And these are my comments, these are my calculations, guys. So Leonardo 55%, bigger chance by decision. I think it's tough to finish Melissa Gatto, whereas Gatto has more chance to finish this inside of the distance rather than decision in my calculations, okay? Manel Kape versus Ode Osbourne, very good fight here, should be an interesting one. Ode Osbourne finishes his fight super quickly. This guy is so, not that tall, but so long, fast and athletic and powerful. He's also has a very good technical game. Has so much power. He finishes people so quickly that it's tough to see, but from what I've seen, he has skills, Maybe he doesn't have the experience yet. He could, burn himself out because of his lack of experience if he's not able to finish his opponent. But I'm curious to see whether this is actually going to happen. He seems to me a guy that gonna surprise here by his awareness in the cage. He's fighting Manel Kape, who is a good defensive striker especially. He has some potential, this guy as well, but he's fighting an aggressive guy, so he's gonna have to use his defensive skills and his counter striking a little bit more here. He's also a pretty decent wrestler, tough guy to take and hold down. So this is a competitive fight. It's basically Kape with the defensive skills and the counter strike and the counter wrestling against an aggressive Osbourne. It could go either way by my calculations. I ended up going Osbourne. I think he has more chances of finishing Kape because he has so much power, Ode Osbourne. But it's a tricky one to bet. Sorry, so I'm gambling on this one a little bit, But to me, to gamble here, it has to be on the underdog because Manel Kape, he disappointed quite some couple of times. He could show something different here, but I think he's again gonna have to fight on his back foot. He could even lose a decision to Osbourne, depends on the game plan that Osbourne brings. So to me the value is on the dog here, definitely a dog or pass. Alright, by my calculations it's a pick him. These are my comments to you guys, and these are the calculations. Again, tough one, big variance again because it's not easy to predict this one. But Drako Rodriguez versus Vince Morales, another interesting one here. Morales, right? Morales, yeah. Vince Morales. So this one, guys, it's again a little bit the counter striker versus the aggressive fighter. Rodriguez is known, probably not known, but he has a decent aggressive game. But he fights Vince Morales, who is known to be a little bit passive. He waits a little bit too much, but he's a fairly experienced guy, Morales is. And he's a well-rounded guy. He has some power, he doesn't push much the pace, but once he starts landing, and he does a good job in the counter striking, as I'm putting here. Sorry that I was updating this time. So he does very well on the counter striking. He can be hit, but he's such a good chin as well, so it's tough to deal with this guy. Has power, and again he favors counter striking. Rodriguez is a complete fighter, but he's fairly inexperienced at this point. He's quite talented. He's young, but and he's quite aggressive. But I don't think aggressiveness is gonna favor him that well against a counter striker with good power as Morales has. So I ended up going with Morales. I think this is a bad matchup for Rodriguez. I expected, again, Rodriguez pushes the pace, but starts making mistakes. I expect that Morales is going to be able to crack Rodriguez, land clean on the chin, possibly getting a finish. I also think Morales is going to be a little bit more aggressive in this fight because he was criticized so much. I think at some point he's going to hear that. And it's going to be interesting if he starts pushing the pace because I think this guy has talent. He's under a good camp. All right. So he opened as a dog. Now probably is a pick him. I still think that the value is on Morales because, like I'm putting here, I think he's has more chance to finish. But I may cover that a little bit with Rodriguez by decision. By my calculations, both of these guys have a 25% chance of winning by decision, so I would take Rodriguez by decision as a cover bet, but to me the value is on Morales. Alright. Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Jamey Simmons. Another interesting one. This is a tough one to call. I end up going with Munoz. I think he has more chances to win this fight with the grappling, basically. Simmons is a compact, powerful, quite athletic guy. Munoz is a little bit taller, longer, the better grappler of the two, better BJJ. So we'll see what's gonna happen here, guys. Munoz, from what I've seen, not the best striking. He uses basically to get inside and shoot, and drag fights to the ground to use his BJJ. Simmons may stuff his takedowns. Simmons actually has good takedowns. Not bad top game, but he makes some mistakes. So it's gonna be tricky, this one for Simmons. He could be submitted, even Munoz from his back. But this is from what I've seen from the video. I think Simmons actually, I expect that this guy gonna show improvements. He's definitely gonna be a physical guy as a bantamweight. He's very physically strong. So it's gonna be interesting. I was, when I first saw this fight, I thought that Munoz was nearly a lock, but totally not. I actually think that this could be competitive, especially if Simmons brings improvements with his submission defense, if he uses his offensive wrestling and defends the attacks. While Munoz is chaining them. Could be interesting. He could win a decision, taking top position, but Munoz, again, this guy has heart, has will, has skills. He's a tall guy himself. So it's a tricky one again. I ended up taking Munoz, but by my calculations, this would be Munoz would be like a -135 favorite, and Simmons nearly a +120 dog, with a quite significant variance again. So again, tricky one. I'm gonna end up passing here because I'm not that confident. But the pick is Munoz by decision. All right. These are my calculations. Feel free to pause here. Miles Jones versus Anderson dos Santos. This is an interesting one, guys. I'm going against basically everyone I heard. This is actually an advantage to have these videos record later. And it was interesting to hear. I think most of the people have the same opinion that Jones gonna out-wrestle Anderson dos Santos. Could happen, because Anderson dos Santos, he doesn't have the best takedown defense. From his back, he's not the best, But to me, this is his fight to win, guys. I think Miles Jones is a little bit overrated. He's not a bad fighter. He's a compact, strong, powerful guy. Has powerful hooks. But I think people are just fading Anderson dos Santos. I heard some people saying that Jones has good straight punches. Actually, he doesn't. He basically is a hooker. He swings with intent. He has some power because he swings with so hard, but he definitely doesn't have straight punches. The one who has straight punches here is Anderson dos Santos. He has the reach here. I actually think people measured him wrong. I don't think he's 5'5". To me, he looks like 5'6" or 5'7" even, Anderson dos Santos. So I think these guys, they pretty much physically quite the same. Jones is younger. Yeah, he's only 27, as Berinja is like 35, so there is a significant edge there for Jones. But on the other hand, Jones is not that experienced, and I think this is gonna be an interesting match. I think Anderson dos Santos is gonna come forward, from the beginning. He has the reach here. He gets hit, he doesn't move the head. He can be knocked out because his chin is so up high, but he has a good chin. Even though he has 2 knockout losses, he does have a good chin. If he tucks that a little bit, or if he has some defense, I would say that he would be a quite decent favorite. And if he works on his takedown defense, or at least he works getting back up a little bit better, he would be a good favorite. But this is a competitive matchup, guys. Could go either way. I have a big variance on this one too. So if you're betting Jones, you are either betting that he cracks Berinja, with an overhand, you know, and puts him out, which I think could happen, but not as likely. To me, if Jones wins here, he has to out-wrestle Dos Santos, but it's not gonna be easy, guys. Jones doesn't have the best control. If he ends up in the full guard of the guys, he's fairly decent there, you know, keep touching and using ground and pound, but he's not the best in landing in offensive position, you know, passing guard and whatnot. He could get submitted by a guillotine as well, you know, so I think it's tricky. To me, it's definitely a dog or pass. If you're betting Jones, I think you're risking a little bit too much, right? In my calculations, Dos Santos should be the favorite. Again, he has the experience, has the reach, has the power, you know. Maybe Jones has more natural power, but Santos, he shows more straight, so I would give the power plus accuracy advantage on the side of Santos. I expect that Santos finishes this fight. I think he could crack Jones with those straight punches, take his back and submitting him, something like that, you know. Or by that guillotine, like I said, you know, Jones to win here, again, he has to fight smart, has to use his counter wrestling and crack Dos Santos, try to put him out on the feet and not grapple with him much, at least that's my opinion, right? Unless he can Anderson dos Santos guesses and then Jones takes him down and holds the top position, this is also not a bad idea. But to me, I would say the most likely Dos Santos wins this fight. That's why my bet, one of the biggest bet on the card to me is on Anderson dos Santos, right? So I broke this down a little bit further so you guys understand what's in my head, okay? And yeah, probably lots of people gonna disagree with me, so bring your comments, let me know how you're betting this fight and on the card, right? Rafal Fiziev versus Bobby Green. Excellent fight in the lightweight division. I expect this one to be an awesome one. Rafal Fiziev, he's so dangerous with the striking. This guy is legit, you know, especially on the offensive part. Defensively, he does pretty well. I'm gonna be rating him 4 stars in both, just because he doesn't have that much reach, but he makes up on the technique, you know. He also doesn't have that much experience, so I'm still a little bit curious to see, but he has looked nothing but impressive in his outing so far. But he's fighting Bobby Green, who's a veteran of the game, physical guy, even though he's like 35 now, so not the youngest anymore. He's still physical, he's still strong, he has a good wrestling game, good grappling game. Again, gets hit a little bit, some mistakes from top, but he knows what he's doing, guys. This guy is no slouch. So this is a tricky one. Obviously, Fiziev has the striking here, nasty Muay Thai, big power, great timing, kicks, you know. This guy has an awesome switch kick, you know. So he's probably the favorite, you know. I'm picking him by decision, but in terms of a bet, I think it's a tricky one because I am curious to see what Bobby Green gonna do. I don't think Bobby Green gonna respect Fiziev's power. He's gonna try to get to his face, get to the clinch, try to out grapple Fiziev, make it a dog fight. Gonna be interesting, guys. So to me, again, this is a dog or pass, even though Fiziev, between all the juices, maybe Fiziev is not a bad parlay piece, you know, at least you know, what is actually at the minus 350 on Fiziev. I think it's a little bit too expensive, you know. So to me, another one, dog or pass here. You know, I ended up taking Green, a small bet on him, you know. I like a little bit better Green by decision. Probably you can get Green by decision to plus 400. I haven't seen the lines yet, but this is most likely the best bet of this fight. All right, these are my calculations, guys. These are my comments. Feel free to pause there. Kenney versus Song Yadong, another very good fight, you know, high level one here. Kenney, very well-rounded guy, likes kicks on the outside, good 1-2s up the middle, good straight punches, excellent wrestling, especially offensively. Consistent guy, he's always in the fight, super tough to finish. He doesn't have the biggest power. He's fighting Yadong, who's a very well-rounded guy himself, very dangerous from top. Difficult to take down, but not that difficult to hold down. If you take him down, he doesn't have much BJJ, even though he's quite active from his back. You know, he ends up making some mistakes, like giving the back and whatnot. But Yadong is known by his striking, you know, sharp 1-2s up the middle, good power, you know, super young guy, 23 years old, solid experience. So this guy is legit, so is Kenny. So again, awesome fight, high level one. I expect that Kenny gonna be able to out-wrestle Song Yadong. I think he's gonna use kicks on the outside, he has the reach here, more straight punches. Yadong probably gonna try to march him down, do what he does. I think Kenny gonna be able to take Yadong down. Yadong, again, not bad takedown defense, not that easy to hold down, but Keney has the wrestling and the grappling to do that. I expect that Keney does that. I expect that Keney gonna be able to out-wrestle him. But it's a tricky one because Yadong, again, super young, great camp, powerful guy, you know, athletic and whatnot. So he could bring big improvements. He could outstrike Keney, you know, stuff those takedowns. So he knows what Keney gonna do, you know. Keney knows what he's gonna do. So pick your side, basically, you know. I end up going with Keney. I'm gonna have a small bet on Keney by decision. To me, the value is there, right? Because Yadong has a little bit more chance to finish Keney. So I have Keney like 35% by decision, Yadong 30%. So this should go to the decision, but to me, Keney has a little bit more chance to edge the decision. Okay. Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill, another good fight in the women's strawweight division. Both of these girls are pretty solid, you know, in all areas of the game, especially Tecia Torres. She's the more well-rounded girl. She does a quite decent job with the striking because she's powerful, you know, but she likes to get inside, throw hands, and get to the clinch. She's fighting Angela Hill, who likes to do just the opposite. She likes to keep space and try to outland girls using her power, her speed, you know. She's evolved quite a bit with her grappling. He was no longer easy to take and hold down, you know. But Tecia could do it, you know, could take and hold her down. I think we're gonna see a competitive matchup. I'm expecting Angela Hill to be able to control the range a little bit better. Expect that Tecia gonna try to get inside. Angela Hill has the angles, has the hand speed, and the timing to catch Torres coming in. Do some damage, not much. Not gonna like drop Torres all the time or something. But I think Hill gonna be able to outstrike Torres, and then Torres gonna try to get to the clinch. I think most of the time we're gonna see Angela Hill being able to stuff, to defend on the clinch, to stuff the takedowns, because Torres is not the best wrestler, even though she has good strengths, you know, she could muscle things to the ground. So we're gonna see, you know, both of these girls know what they have to do. Ended up going with Hill by decision. I think she has a little bit more chance. I'm having her like 55% favorite, so to me the value is on her, especially by decision. But again, both of these girls, super tough, super experienced, you know, great camps. They are both coming for real. Tecia Torres is a little bit younger too. So if you're picking Torres, I don't blame you, you know, but I think the Hill has a little bit more chance, right? I'm going Hill by decision, and I'm also gonna take a bet on Hill by decision besides the bets that I have straight in some parlays on Hill, right? These are my comments, my calculations, guys. Vicente Luque versus Michael Chiesa. You know, this is an interesting one. Luque is super aggressive, you know, he marches guys down, nasty calf kicks, powerful hooks, you know, can go straight shots, good top game, good wrestling, decent takedown defense, decent from his back, you know, experience, super tough, you know, this guy has an iron chin, so it's ridiculous. He's fighting Michael Chiesa, who is a guy that, he's a tall guy, 6'1" for the division, pretty long, you know, he's a big welterweight. He was a big lightweight, he became a big welterweight. It's just crazy how this guy, you know, added the muscle to his frame. He looks legit there in this weight class. He's a grappler. The Maverick is just missing, comes blank to the name sometimes. Michael Chiesa is like he's a good grappler, you know. He's not he used to make some mistakes. I think he fixed that, and he's so tall and so long that it's tough to grapple with him. He also quite skinny in some sense, you know. He packs some size, like I said, you know, but almost like bones, you know. He doesn't have some muscles to his frame, but when he grapples, you can see those skinny legs and these things actually favoring him, you know. So I think he has the edge in the terms of grappling here, at least from the videos. But again, Luque, we haven't seen him grappling at least in the couple of years from now, from 2019. I haven't seen much grappling from him in the UFC at least. But he's training with the in Sanford MMA with Gilbert Burns. They're probably friends. They're both you know, originally Brazilians and whatnot. So I expected Luque, you know, bring a good grappling game for this matchup because he knows what Michael Chiesa is gonna try to do. Still, guys, I'm going with Chiesa, but I ended up not betting anything here. because to me this is a pick and fight. You know, I have both of these guys like 50%, but it will depend a lot whether Vicente Luque gonna be able to stuff those takedowns or he's gonna start getting taken down. If Chiesa starts taking this down, I think Luque gonna shut down his offensive, and I think Chiesa has a little bit more chance in this fight just because he gets hit less, and I think it's quite a bad matchup for Luque, even though Luque is a bad matchup for Chiesa as well, you know, because he has so much power, such great striking. But I think Chiesa has a little bit more chances, but I ended up being a little bit more timid here, ended up going as a pick and fight on this one. Alright, let me just show you guys my calculations. Feel free to pause here. I think this is worth your time. Let me know how you're betting this fight and the card, alright? Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munoz, excellent fight, high level one. Aldo, I don't have to comment anything for this guy, you know, just great. He's in a decline, I think, you know, even though he revamped his career quite interesting when he moved to the bantamweight division, looking really big and sharp there, you know, aggressive, trying to march guys down, throwing his big hooks, you know. He actually is using more of his wrestling in the bantamweight division, which is interesting. But he's fighting Pedro Munoz, who is a guy known by his ridiculous chin, you know, his aggressiveness, getting hit, but super aggressive, and that nasty BJJ game. You know, Munoz has a nasty guillotine. It's just incredible how good he is in that technique. You know, it's like next level between all the guillotine masters. So this guy is legit, you know. Actually, this is a bad matchup for Aldo because Munoz, I think at some point he's gonna get KO'd in his career. It's just impossible to hit the amount of shots that he hits, you know, and just not get dropped. But still, he wasn't dropped. So I think this is actually a bad matchup for Aldo. I expect that Munoz gonna march him down, gonna wear on his cardio. Aldo could crack Munoz, you know. Aldo could even finish Munoz, you know. But so far we haven't seen Munoz faded, you know, flinching after those heavy hits. So even if by the analysis, right, even if Aldo cracks Munoz, Munoz should be able to continue marching him down and possibly get a late finish. I ended up going Munoz by decision because Aldo, he's such a veteran, you know. He could edge a decision on Munoz just by, you know, being smarter, using better angles and whatnot. But to me, most likely we're gonna see Pedro Munoz marching Aldo down. To me, Aldo would be an underdog on this fight. He opened up as a favorite. I didn't catch the line early on. I ended up passing at this point. I don't think there's much value on either guy at this point, you know. But my pick is Munoz by decision. Munoz round 3 is not a bad idea as well. I didn't put it here, should have put. But Munoz round 3 it's not a bad idea because Aldo in the past used it to guess, you know, and have problems in the third round. If he's gonna start getting marched down for 3 rounds, could be tricky, you know, and could get finished. So Munoz, you know, as a pick by decision. These are my calculations, guys. And the main event, Gane versus Derek Lewis. Very interesting fight. This is easy to break down. I think everybody probably know Derek Lewis, who is known by his ridiculous power, but by his lack of an activity, but the one-shot power, he can put anybody out. But he just basically waits until he can find that shot. If he can't, which is interesting that he probably 60%, 70% of the times he finds that shot. So it's interesting to see this guy fighting, but he's fighting Gane, who is super technical, you know, who doesn't care about criticism, which is good in this case. I think we're gonna see Gane being able to control the range as he always does. It's very difficult to hit Gane, you know, and you know, if you want to do an analysis on this fight yourself, watch Gane versus Rosenstruik, you know. Gane was so masterful controlling the range there. Rosenstruik, to me, did that fight nearly perfect. He waited for the right time to try to crack, used the combos, etc. Gane moves so well, both by angles and the head movement. He also knows what he's doing. He could clinch, take Lewis down, you know. So to me, this is Gane's fight to win. I'm quite confident on him. I'm betting him as a minus 330 favorite. Usually I don't do that, you know. I like to bet the dogs more than the juices here, but to me the value is definitely on Gane. Gane could also finish Lewis, you know, because this guy has power. He's edging decisions mostly, and he's gonna be careful here, don't get me wrong, But as a 5 fight, you know, if Lewis, he's probably gonna be a little bit more careful in the first two. If he feels that Lewis is getting tired, missing too many shots, we're gonna see Gane using straight punches, using those head kicks, and could possibly finish Lewis in the third, fourth, or fifth round. You know, so Gane, I'm going by decision. I think most likely by decision, but you know, this guy could finish. I'm not gonna be betting Gane by decision here, guys, because I think he has a decent chance that he finishes Lewis. You know. But if I'm gonna analyze and on the stats and etc., it's by decision. But I wouldn't bet Gane by decision. I'm probably gonna try to take Gane in around 3, you know, around 3, 4, something like that, you know, around 5. So I'm interested to see the odds there. All right. So guys, this will do for this video. So as I told you guys, if you'd like to support the channel, I'd appreciate that very much. I added this new tier, as I said from the beginning. I hope you guys enjoyed. This also probably gives a little bit more access to some people that don't want to pay much, you know, to support this. But yeah, I have these 3 tiers. So for $5, you guys have the lock of the night and top 2 parlays, which I'm gonna record soon. For 10, the early releases. 15, the prop bets line by line, and for $50, line by line all bets that I have. Let me show you guys this one, you know, maybe it makes more interesting to you guys. So what basically I have for, this is the $50 tiers. This is basically the same as the 15, but in here I put everything, whereas in the 15 I only have the prop bets in this format, right? So basically, if you trust me from previous analysis, and I know that I didn't have the best months in the last 2, but I'm almost sure that things are gonna come around. So some bets that I have here, for example, I had a parlaying Maki there in the Bellator, you know, with I parlayed him with Gane a little bit, you know, and I'm also parlaying him with Anderson dos Santos. So if this cash is gonna come, quite interesting profit in this one. I got Vincent Morales in an early market. So basically here I put the line that I take, which odds when I take, the risk that I'm taking comparing to this, right? So the risk that I take, which the event, or if I'm combining them, etc., and the data that I added. All right. So this is basically it. You guys can see here exactly the bets that I have, at least so far. I didn't put the pro bets here yet, so it's gonna come up. So this is basically all the bets that I have. Like I told you guys, you know, I have Karola Kowalkiewicz, I have Bobby Green a little bit, you know, Ode Osbourne. You know, there are some little bit trickier bets, so obviously you don't have to follow anything that I'm putting here. This is the way I'm doing things, you know. Then I have Angela Hill a little bit, you know, and yeah, some previous cards, some parlays that I made, some of them, you know, got cancelled, like Kamaka, the fight was a draw, Montaño has cancelled. So I combine things here. This is what I have open as of now, right? So if you would like access to this, it's for the $50 tiers, and if you'd like to see only the pro bets for 15, and the rest is the early and yeah, the top 2 parlays with the lock. All right. So guys, I hope you appreciate this video. If you like, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'll talk to you next time. This is Sam from Bet, bringing the best, most consistent and transparent betting strategy for you.